Well, surprise, surprise, I just popped in again. Look at all the consistency and all the love this week. It's Nikki Thomas. If we don't know each other, you hear me on the radio 102.9 KBLX here in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm also a conscious digital creator, and my brand new course, Broadcast Live Academy, is happening next week. So, really, what I'm going to do today is give you a little taste of what's going to happen inside Broadcast Live Academy. So, if you want to inform or inspire or promote anything that you are doing, fam, Broadcast Live Academy is for you, because it's all about how you can be more confident when you go live on social media, like I'm doing right now. I do this every day because of the work that I do on the radio. But hey, why not do it for you? Why not put it to work for yourself? Because we all know the impact of video and live video, especially in the post-pandemic era. This is the way we've been connecting for a long time. Darnaro Evans is in the building. How you doing, my honey bun? How you doing today? I appreciate all this love that you're giving me every day. So let's just go ahead and jump in, because I have a special guest today. All right, I've got a special guest. And she's a special person, and she is super talented. And I don't want to take up all our time with all of the accomplishments, because she really is one of the best radio personalities in the galaxy. Y'all thought I was going to say in the country, but no, it's the whole galaxy. She is a part of the Morning Grind with Shay and Sean on KPRS Hot 103 Jams in Kansas City. Please welcome Shay Moore. She's in the building.
Thank you, Nikki, for having me. You said I'm so special. I'm wondering, am I on that collage board over your shoulder? Is a picture of me on that?
It's my vision board.
Then I'm not that special. I'm just saying.
Well, you're something that already exists. You probably was on one of the last vision boards where I said I really need great, talented, dynamic friends, and you popped in. So, you know.
Good save. Okay.
This is really going to be good, because, you know, you have really some lightweight or really some hardcore media coaching today. So we're going to talk about something, really, it's one of the number one questions that people ask us when we say, hey, I'm on the radio. The first thing they want to know is about the celebrities. Do you find that as well?
All the time. That's the first question people have. Who's the best celebrity? Who's the most famous person? How does so-and-so act? Are you nervous? Do you ever get scared? So we're going to talk about all of that stuff here.
Right.
You and I were talking off air about how things have changed over the years as we've developed this skill set. So hopefully you guys will be able to get some of this imparted to you.
So go ahead and share the video, because I know somebody is going to enjoy what we're going to talk about, even if it's just, for fun and giggles. We got some stories between the both of us. Yeah, that's the face. We got some stories between the both of us, and it just kind of lets you know how what we do is not all fun and games, fam. It's not all fun and games. And there's a whole lot of emotion involved in it. So let's start here. Probably the most popular question, who's the most famous person that you've interviewed in your entire career, Shay?
Alive or dead?
It could be anybody.
Probably Diddy.
Oh, okay.
Johnny Cochran. He's passed away, so that's a person who everyone knows in infamy because of the O.J. Simpson trial. But I got an opportunity to meet and interview him when we worked at the same station together in Buffalo years ago.
Was I still there? I don't even remember that. Was I still there?
I'm not sure. You may not have been there, because I was doing middays at the time. And he came up there during the midday show. He was promoting the book that he had written. So I have a signed copy of that book from Johnny Cochran, and just a couple of years later he died. So that's one of the things that I hold dear when I think about, my interview times. Diddy, maybe Master P, um, the guy who played Tad on All My Children.
You've been loving Tad for a long time, Shay. We can name all these people. But when I say Tad, you go a little bit loopy.
He's famous to me. And if you were a young person and your grandmother watched you growing up, these soap opera stars were huge. So when I got a chance to meet Tad, Nikki, I was like,
Yes, honey. I have a picture of you and Tad, and listen,
yes.
your eyes is rattling around in your head. You're so happy to be hugging on Tad. That
I don't even know his real name, which is ridiculous. He's Tad.
I don't know what is this. His Tad. It's Tad. That's his name. Okay, as far as we know, it's Tad. Hey, Stacy, married in Alaska. How you doing, honey? Okay, so that question kind of leads me to a few things. And you can ask me questions too, Shay, because we're really just going to have a conversation, a comparative list of experiences. But I think that's one of the things that makes it so special, because there is a list of people that have passed on that you got a chance to sit and have a moment with. Can you think of anybody else besides Johnny Cochran? Because I thought of a bunch of people when you said that.
That had died.
Mm-hmm. Dick Gregory was one. He came to the Hotel Nico for the KBLX brunch. So Dick Gregory, and he came twice and sat down and talked. And when you say down to earth, man, listen, we talk about normal stuff, we talked about crazy stuff. When we finished the interview, he got up and went and talked to some people and ended up sitting down having brunch with them and their family. Just a real cool brother. Vesta, the singer Vesta, same thing.
She died? Damn. I didn't know.
Yes, Shay, yes. You knew, but you'd have forgot. She's a Capricorn family. She'd have forgot.
You're gonna stop with this Capricorn slander. Let's do right by the people, okay?
Tracy,
I'm thinking comedian John Witherspoon. He just popped into my mind.
That's another one. That's another one.
He's been on my show several times, actually. He was very down to earth, like you're saying.
Yeah. Funny stories about John Witherspoon, because he really was funny when he wasn't trying to be funny.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy T, because he was at Tommy T's here in the Bay in Pleasanton, and Tommy went downstairs, got us some Starbucks, and he said, "Well, I don't know what to get." And I said, "Well, we always get turkey bacon sandwiches, turkey bacon, And he said, "Well, just give me that." But when the thing got up there, he kept looking. He said, "Well, where's the turkey?" So it took us 10, 15 minutes to explain to him that it was bacon made out of turkey.
Right.
Not turkey and bacon inside the biscuit. But he was upset and confused for quite a few minutes.
So you lied. No.
To him it was a lie, Shay. You're right. You're right. To him that was a lie.
Right.
He kept peeling back the layers of the sandwich. Where's the turkey? But I don't
turkey.
Ain't no turkey in here. So yeah. Did you think of anybody else? I know you were going over.
That's the hard part about this kind of thing. There's literally been, thousands and thousands of people that we've interviewed. So I'm trying to go through the middle Rolodex in the dead category just because that's what you're asking me for. I hate to be light about this, but it's like, wow. Let me think. Who?
And Ashford and Simpson, Nick Ashford. That's another. All of the Hotel Nico people. There's a few of them that came through that have passed on, and that sat and talked with us. And I remember watching that video of you and Master P.
That was so fun.
And I was going to bring that up as part of this, just because you seemed very relaxed, and I love that I could watch you, because it really was a master class on how to interview, because I could feel that you were very comfortable. And I remember you were looking, you look real good. You look good. So that's step one right there. You did step one, when you establishing that rapport.
That's very important, Nikki. Trying to establish a rapport. And for me, the way that I look at it, anyone who comes into my studio is a guest in my home.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's my job to make them feel comfortable. And I know a lot of people, when they see their favorite celebrity and, they want to have that tad moment that we were talking about, but you really have to be in control of your faculties. When Master P comes in the building, he's a multi millionaire, but I don't think of him in that way. I think of him as someone that's coming in my home. And so I'm like, hey, boy, sit down. And so, first of all, he's looking at me like, what? Because people don't talk to him like that. So I want to let him know right off the bat, oh, I'm not a star. Oh, I'm not a star hawker. No, I'm not getting ready to ask you for a signature or ask you to fund my new business that I've got in my mind. You're in my house, and
Right.
go ahead and sit down. We're
Right.
about to have some fun.
Right. And see, the thing about it is, it doesn't matter who it is. You got to get level. You got to see eye to eye with that person. And I know a lot of people that are, don't have to be anybody famous. I've interviewed lots of people, period.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you really made me feel relaxed. And it was like, thank you. That's really all it is. You relax, get the other people to relax. And that's it. Okay, so Johnny Cochran, we got Diddy. What was Diddy like to interview?
He was actually full of energy. I was really shocked. This is when he was doing the Bad Boy reunion tour.
Mm-hmm.
And our station is in Kansas City, Missouri, and the tour was supposed to come there. And he is so famous that he doesn't have to do radio interviews anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But he's of that old school thought that it's important to do radio still. And
Mm-hmm.
so he was very open, answered all the questions. I'm very playful with people that I talk to. A lot of times I try to disarm them with something up front.
Disarm. I like that.
So that they know that put your guard down. We're going to have a good time. Because once you can get that done, you can pretty much get them to say or even do anything. And that's where the magic lies once the defenses are down, because they get asked the same questions. If you're talking to a music artist, people, oh, what producers you work with? Oh, the
How does it feel to be a 6-time Grammy winner? How does it feel?
And so those sorts of questions are things that they regurgitate over and over and over again. And so if you can find a place to get to them as a person, as a human being, that's where you can get magic to happen. That's where you can get them to say something that they didn't say at the other 10 interviews that they went to this week.
I love that. All right. So yeah, I never did see the Diddy one. What is the difference between how you used to, because we've both been doing this for a while, 20 plus years each. What's the thing that is the secret sauce for you when it comes to sitting down with someone?
Being comfortable. When I first started, I was always very self-conscious about a lot of different things. Is my hair right? Am I dressed right? Oh my God, do I have the right questions? Oh my God, is he, looking at me? Is this happening? But now I don't have any of those thoughts in my mind, because I prepare in advance so that this way I'm not concerned about what the next question will be. I'm having a conversation just like you and I talk. We're just talking. And if something comes up in the course of the conversation, I may go in a different direction. Usually I'll have maybe 5 or 6 questions lined up in the event that you get someone dry, and that will happen. You'll get people who will just be like, and that's happened many times with me. I interviewed Erykah Badu some years ago, and it was an awful interview.
She was having a bad day.
She was having a bad day. And so she was actually rude to me. And as we were wrapping up the interview, I was like, okay, well, let me wrap this up. Because one thing I'm not going to do is have you be on my show promoting something that you're trying to promote and you be rude to me. So what she did was she said, you know what? I literally just woke up from a nap. I'm out of pocket. Can we do this again? And I deleted it and redid the interview. Now I could have probably used that, if we were in the world today where, we could post everything up to a blog and make something, happen in that way. But I understood it as a woman. Sometimes you just say to the move. You're on your cycle, whatever's going on. And she caught herself. She said, listen, can we please do this again? I've got tickets for you to come backstage. Come on, just do
I'm
whatever.
sorry, sis. I'm sorry.
Exactly. So I deleted it and I redid it, and it was better.
That's
So
great.
those sort of things are going to happen sometimes.
Well, she's a Pisces, Shay. If we're just going to put astrology, she's a Pisces. Pisces go back and forth. They're emotional. That you might catch the good version, and then you'll catch the deadly version 5 minutes later. You just don't know. Okay, so let me think about this, because you said you might get somebody that's dry. Can we talk about any? Because you said Erykah Badu was not in a good mood. I'm trying. There's been a few dry ones that I had where it's like they just did not want to be there, and something happened. Say upset with. I don't know what was going on in their personal world. Is there anybody else on that list that was just like?
There was someone who was unprepared. They just came into the industry, and they're still in the industry. I'm not going to name them, but they're an R&B singer. It's a male, and he came on my show, and he's got a unique name. So I asked him, why did he have this name? And he couldn't answer me. So he had not yet, I guess, formed why. And so I was like, they need to media train him because he's ill prepared. But he's better now. I've interviewed him later on and it got better. But this
That's
was
interesting.
very early on in his career.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important that people sit and think about what you're going to do, whether you're interviewing someone or being interviewed. You want to think about what your response would be for some of the most common things that people are going to ask, particularly if you're new to something. People are going to want to get to know you. And that was a very, I thought, an easy question, but it wasn't. Um,
Yeah.
there's been some dry people. I don't necessarily want to just name them.
We can't put them on blast.
Yeah, because sometimes I'll make fun of them. I'll be like, "Are you sleepy?" Or are they like, "You do you not want to be bothered?" I'm that person. You know what I'm saying? Because the people who are listening are thinking the same thing. They notice that this is dry and boring, and no one cares. So I'm gonna ask the obvious question: everything all right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's almost like you're saying it's them, not me. They got some issues today. I'm ready. They're not ready. Um, but you know what? And we don't want to spin this as where we like throwing daggers. Because I remember one of my worst interviews ever. And it was just because I was young and unprepared. It was my very first interview at Q93 in New Orleans back in the day. And it was Faith Evans. And I was just I just, it might have been, I was at a handful of interviews that I had ever done. So nobody had ever taught me how to do it. You know what I mean? So you just run out there doing the most, and she was just like, she had to after me, and rightfully so, because I had no clue what
I don't know, lady. I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay.
Stacy says, have either one of you ever regretted turning down an interview? Well, actually, how it works is when you're in radio, they say you have an interview with this person and you have
Exactly.
to do it. And that's what it is. And it's a done deal. So you just have to prepare. And preparing depends on who it is, how much you know about them, how much you love them. It's so many different things. And there are some people who are just good interviewees.
Yeah.
Like you enjoy talking to them. They were easy to talk to and they know how. Because there's two sides of the story. Sometimes if it's messed up, they just blame us. I heard this terrible interview with such and such, and it's like, no, they were having some problems. But some people are just great. Can you name someone like that who was just great to talk to, and it didn't even feel like an interview, and they were good at their part of it?
I would say LL Cool J is one of those people. He comes to play. He knows what to say, how to be funny, how to impart wisdom. and he's disarming to me. And
I like when that happens.
this was pretty early on in my career, and I'm from Queens. LL Cool J is from Queens. My sister went to the same high school as he did, so I was like, let him in, whatever. It's LL Cool J from around the way. But when he walked into the room, he had an aura. And Nikki, I sat there and looked at him like this, and a single tear came down my eye. I'm not lying. This has never happened to me before, and has never happened to me since. So
Mm.
a single tear came down my eye, and he grabbed me and hugged me and said, "It's going to be okay." And I went inside his hoodie,
His arm, his
and
manly arm.
he smelled like baby powder. The baby powder oil that they sell, like in the hood. I don't know if y'all from the hood,
Baby,
but
I know about an Egyptian
Egyptian
musk.
musk,
You got
right?
yeah.
So the interview was so great, and I have it on cassette tape. This is how long ago this was. And so I would love to be able to get that moved into a digital space. I have so many interviews, and I think that if I listen back to them, I'd probably be cringing because I had no idea what I was doing back then at all.
Well, and that some people are very versed. And let me just piggyback because LL Cool J, if anybody's met LL that's in our comments or that will watch this in replay for years to come, he is disarmingly fine.
Yeah.
You got to prepare and brace yourself. I met him, but it was before my radio career. So it was many, many years ago. So he was young and extra, extra fine. Extra fine. Everybody in Hollywood is short. Whoever it is you think it is just so fine or whatever, they about a foot shorter than you think they are. And they look very regular when you meet them. Not LL. Not LL. He's tall. And I know me and you're like, what, 5'7"? I'm almost 5'9". We ain't short. So when a dude you got to look up at him, and his skin is beautiful.
So I really was no help. He ran that interview because I was sitting there with the tear, smelling the baby powder. I was not ready.
Yeah, it's some people you can't even get ready for. I would say Maxwell is that my closest one to that kind of a feeling. Because I've been having feelings for Maxwell for a very long time. I just love him. I love him. But he's so friendly, borderline flirty. And I'm like, listen, young man, please don't do this to me in this public forum. Because, he just get to touching and all of this stuff. But he was prepared and brought the energy where I didn't have to pull the whole load.
Right.
So, it was like, hey, this is Nikki. She's going to be, oh, hey, he comes and he puts his hand around my waist. And I'm like, and he was just he made me very comfortable, borderline nervous, but comfortable, where I felt like, hey, this is going to be fun. So keep that in mind for like when you interview and when you're being interviewed, that there's two sides that make it great, So Stacey said, I think the late Aaliyah would have been a sweet person to interview. She seemed genuine. I met her once. It was not an interview situation, but she was extremely quiet. I don't know if
And there are a lot of celebrities that are like that. You think that people, when we had Cardi B here, she's very boisterous when she's doing her thing, but she's not like that in person. And many people who are that way are not like that when you first meet them. And she was actually very nervous. She says she gets nervous around women for some reason. And she was very nervous acting. And I was shocked by that.
Wow.
I thought that she would be, hey girl, no, it was not that. It was totally not the same energy that she gives. And that can happen a lot. Even Mary J. Blige, I interviewed her when I worked in Dallas. And she's got a very quiet spirit. She's also Capricorn. That's my birthday twin. And she walked into I've met her and interviewed her twice. And when she comes into the room, she's very quiet. She's very, within herself. It wasn't a bad interview, but it wasn't like a, hey girl, hey. It wasn't that kind of thing where I've literally been laughing out loud with some other folks.
Well, it takes some work to get to a certain energy level. And the thing that you can't forget is that it doesn't matter who it is. If somebody comes and sits down, they've, had to get up, put on their pants one leg at a time and eat their breakfast and get the sleep out of there. It's a human being that you're talking to.
That's right.
Throw this into this whole thing about, oh, but it's this person. No, let's bring the energy back now. So it's a few tricks in there. Stacy says, interesting. No one would have probably guessed that. Thanks for sharing. But it's the truth. These are human beings, and sometimes there's a layer. If she gets nervous around women, I'm thinking that the whole, all of that might be a thing that she does with men specifically to, put the chips in her favor or something. But you just don't know. You don't know.
You really don't know. People, like you said, shoot, we're women. You may be going through something may be happening behind the scenes, whatever the case may be. And it's often odd to walk into a situation where 200 people are sitting there staring at you, and they're expecting something from you. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people come to these situations with preconceived notions about people. So that's the thing that I try not to do, because they're so used to people yelling and screaming, oh my God, it's so-and-so, or expecting them to entertain them at all times. And so I don't want to put that out there to make them feel like they have to perform for me.
Well, and let me just put that out there to everybody. You could take the interviewing and broadcast live academy off the table. It's highly disrespectful to scream at someone. And we just talk about how highly disrespectful that is to go ballistic. Because, you've been doing radio for a minute. Some people have come at you like that. People have come at me like that. I can't trust you when you start doing all that. So I can imagine that people who are like for real famous and people are doing that all day. Okay, listen. If I'm a normal person and you're a normal person, when people walk up to you screaming and acting crazy, something's wrong with this person. That's the first thing you're going to think. So, it's disrespectful.
I guess people sometimes when people have their minds, it's so easy for us to think that celebrities are our friends. And so if you've been anticipating meeting someone for so long, sometimes those kind of things happen. But if you're trying to be in an interviewing setting, you can't do that. You got to hold it in as much as humanly possible.
Yeah, even if it's not an interview setting, family, listen to me. I'm going to look in the camera when I say, listen to me. Keep your manners high. My name is blank. Nice to meet you. That works on everybody.
So that works in everybody.
It works on everybody. Your manners are there, and they're not going to think you're a cuckoo bird. Okay? Okay? And what I'll put out there, the person that is probably not what you expect is Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams was a couple of years ago, probably right before the pandemic. And I guess that's because I saw her in such a way, the astrology thing for me is not a joke. If I know what a person's sign is, I know a little bit about them. And I know that she's a Cancer. And whatever the Wendy Williams, they call her the Queen of Mean, and people focus on her abrasiveness and what she said and this and that. Child, listen.
She's nice.
All that is a very hypersensitive person. That's what a Cancer
is. Doing a job.
Yeah, she's doing a job. She's giving people. Well, she'd be out of business if y'all didn't like it. You know what I'm saying? But she's a very sensitive soul, very misunderstood, very straightforward. Because she will be like, who are you? What do you want? So sometimes I was thinking that, but she'd just say it. Who are you? What do you want? So I liked her. You know what I mean? I could see that all of the other stuff was just some kind of facade, and she was giving people the show that they wanted. But real sweet person, from what I gather. And she had a lot going on. So, those emotions are right there under the surface. Stacy says, thanks for the work that you do. It can't be easy always. No, it's not. Can you think of any other reasons why an interview would be difficult? Or can you pull up something else that was just difficult for reasons that you might not have anticipated?
Some people are doing interviews under duress. Some people have been woken up, and especially on the morning show, We're
Yes.
doing interviews very early. And usually when I talk to someone, the first thing they'll say is, it's early. So I'm like, I know, I'm up too. So
Hey, baby, welcome.
those kind of things um come into play. Even if you're talking to someone who may not be as famous as they used to be,
Hmm.
sometimes those interviews are interesting because they've got a mystique. And I'm thinking of someone now, I don't want to name them
Okay.
because he's a nice man, but he's a comedian who was very highly regarded at one time and then kind of fell off. He had some other issues and things. And so when we interview him again, it's kind of like, you don't want to downplay what they've been doing and just 100% focus on what they did 20 years ago, because I feel like that's disrespectful.
Yeah.
So, those sorts of interviews are always interesting. Or even someone who I may not know a lot about but I respect, like we've interviewed Patti LaBelle several times. That's kind of like my mother's music. So but I respect her. And she's always out there, so she keeps herself current. So
Yes,
we
she
have a
does.
lot of fun with her, and she's super spicy, so she's gonna come back with something crazy.
Right.
If you try to challenge her, and it's gonna be a funny moment, an impactful moment.
Right.
um
And you know what? When you said when you said somebody you didn't want to name, I thought to myself, it must be a comedian. Then you said he's a comedian.
yeah.
Comedians are in a different category than everybody else.
Yeah,
They're in a different category.
many of them are very strange. They're not who you think they are.
That's it. That's it. I think, and because what we see really across the board, we're seeing it with Kevin Hart right now. He's a funny guy, but you see some of these dramatic roles he's doing now. It's like they really have a dark side.
You have to have a dark side to be able to make light of things, and
Hmm.
you have to be a thinking person. So if you spend a lot of time, I'm an introvert as well,
Yeah, me too. Me too.
so I spend a lot of time thinking about things,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that's how you can find the humor in things, because you've actually thought about it. So this is what comedians bring, and many of them are very melancholy. The only
Yes.
person that I have not experienced that was melancholy is Marlon Wayans. Like, he is
I love him.
I was like, "Are you okay?" It was on
Tommy Davidson
10,000.
is like that. Tommy Davidson is like that because I was telling I say not very many people wear me out like this. When he left, I was sweating. That's the when he came to the station, we turned on Prince and did a whole dance in the hallway because I said, let's do a music video. And he said,
Lord.
yeah. And he said, okay, you stand here and I'm gonna stand over here. You play the music, let's go. So he amplified my energy 10 times. And when he left, I was sweating. I needed some water. I needed to sit down. His energy's like this. But when I interviewed Marlon, it was early. It was morning show. So
Mhm.
he was like this. And I remember he was sitting there eating an apple and we were talking about diet, food philosophy. And I was like, oh, it's great. Cause he's like, I'm on this diet. I'm doing this. Oh, it's great. You have, a philosophy as far as what you eat. So off mic, I'm having crazy conversations about the astrology and, food and stuff with people. Some more is another one, super downer. She's one of my favorite people because she'll come, we'll do an interview, and then we'll talk 2-3 hours after that. Super cool sister. Um, so, just like you were saying, everybody's human, everybody's at a different, you might have caught them at up,
Exactly.
might have caught them at down, we might have had a better rapport or earlier in the career. There's so many different things. And, you can't hook your self-esteem into it either way. You know what I mean? But it's definitely a blessing that we've got a chance to just kind of, connect with all these great people. And it makes you understand your own human side a bit deeper.
And
Too.
something that you said that's very important that people need to understand is that you may catch people at different points of their day, their human experience, what they're going through in life. And so you have got to be prepared for the eventuality. If you get somebody who's on 1,000 if you get someone who's on zero, if you
Mm-hmm.
get someone who just lost their mom or just lost a pet or who's going through something, you've got to be prepared to meet that energy and still try to take control of that. And that's what's so wonderful about the Broadcast Live School, is that Nikki's going to be giving you tips and tools and tricks of the trade to be able to meet those situations when they arise. And we're letting you know right now, they're going to arise. They're going to happen in your time with interviewing people. And it doesn't have to even be with celebrities. If you're just interviewing people in the community, if you're interviewing people who are business owners, or if you're interviewing your customers, maybe you've got a brand and you want to branch out and use social media as a way to make more awareness of your brand, of your product, of your service, of your business. These are skills that you can use in this way as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited about what we're going to be doing
Mm-hmm.
next week. We're going to go more in depth on those tips and tricks of the trade that I'm
And the
referencing
framework,
now.
because when you're doing trial and error, that's what you're doing. You're trying to build a framework, and we already have a framework we can give you. The other thing is that when you're trying to create impact, or if you're trying to teach or inspire folks, you don't have to pull the whole load. Interviews are a great way to build a brand. Sometimes you could be the person that does all these great interviews with people in the community or famous people or up and coming musicians or whatever the niche is that you create. So there is a lot of a sweet spot there that you can build inside of the stuff that we're going to teach you. Broadcast Live Academy. It is my great, awesome 5-day live course. Uh-oh, Shay Moore disappeared. Oh, she's back. She disappeared again. Okay, she's upside down now. A lot of things.
Somebody called my phone. My bad, girl. I didn't put it
Oh, okay,
on
girl, you were
DND.
upside down and going and okay.
I didn't put it on do not disturb, which I should have done.
Right,
So
right.
Nikki's going to talk to you about that in the broadcast.
I be forget sometimes too. So yes, it's a great way to create a brand and create I don't know, nuance in your presentation when it comes to putting yourself out. It's a way to do it. If you want to collaborate with somebody, a lot of folks are doing it on Instagram Live now. Um, there's always a way to do it so that all the pressure's not on you. So, you can get to the point where I literally called Shay a few minutes before we did this and say, hey, let's go live and talk about this. She said, okay. I said, girl, let me get my wig together. And we go come back and I'm gonna send you the StreamYard link. Let's do it. So, again, there's time. Oh, but you guys have been doing this for a long time. Listen, it's 30 years almost. It's probably 20 years of total mess ups. And then you get to a sweet spot. Then you become this person who's great at interviews. So I'll save you the 20 years of
That's
grief.
right.
I'll save you the 20 years of grief. So click the button above or below, depending on where you're watching, and just enroll now. It's live. You don't have to take 4 to 6 weeks. I'm not going to charge you $1,000, $2,000, a lot like a lot of the coaches are charging right now. I am frankly sick of paying all my money to people to learn things. I wanted to make this affordable and accessible to the community. And my community is basically the globe because when I experience breakthroughs or information, I like to share them with my folks. And that's it. So Shay Moore is going to be part of our day 2, how to interview anyone and how to be interviewed. So you will learn the framework and be able to step into 2022. So this is a jump start for all of the people who want to brand and monetize themselves in 2022. It's not too late. It's not too hard. It's not too scary. And I'll also teach you the tools that you can use to, create things like this and make them look cute and easy.
You can even use this in your everyday life with just connecting with people that you're meeting, you
Mm-hmm.
know, in the business world, in personal settings, to be able to have a conversation with someone that they walk away saying, wow, I really felt like this person heard me.
Mm-hmm.
That right there goes a long way with people. So even if you're not a business person, even if you're someone who considers themselves shy and you're wanting to open up a little bit more and open up your social circle, this would be an impactful course for you to take, just to learn how to go into a setting and strike up a conversation with someone. I have a speech impediment too, by the way, which is something that a lot of people don't know. I have a stutter, so sometimes it'll come up, but nonetheless, it's a tool that you can use in a bunch of different settings.
Awesomeness. Broadcast Live Academy starts next week, Monday. We go live and we bring the community in. You can ask questions. You can be a part of, it's already a growing community of a lot of professional women. It's a great container. It's a great container to be in. For me, if I have a new goal, that means I have to find a container to jump into where we are masterminding about that particular subject. So this is it right here. The information is in the link in the post here. And if you want to be a part of it, it's super affordable. All right. Not $1,000. It's less than $100. And it's 5 days of focus and community and skill, up leveling your skills. Many don't understand the dynamics of interviewing. Yeah, but once you take the course, you're going to understand. You're going to know.
That's right.
And you're going to embody it. The wonderful Shay Moore, thank you for joining us from Kansas City in front of her Christmas tree and ready for the holidays.
It's my favorite time of the year.
Is it? I don't have my tree up yet. My cat might be back there. I don't know if that counts for anything at all, but
no.
The holiday cat. Y'all have a great rest of your day. It's Nikki Thomas, the fabulous Shay Moore from KPRS Hot 103 Jams in Kansas City in the morning.
Yes.
And shine. She is a radio professional, darling. Professional.
Thank you very much, Nikki. Do yourself a favor and enroll in this course. You're going to be getting over, dare I say, 50 years of radio experience. I'm also a voiceover actress. I've been in anime cartoons. I've done voiceovers for books. I've been in video games. So you're getting a wealth of knowledge from folks who have done what you're looking to do. And we'll get you right there quickly.
I love it. I love it, fam. Thank you, Stacy. Stacy's been like in the comments hard for last.
Hey, girl. Hey.
30 minutes. Thank you so much, Stacy. She's all the way in Alaska too. All right. Thank you so much. Just we just did this on the fly today. Best and worst celebrity interviews ever. If you want to up level your game and be more confident when you go live or when you do recorded video, Broadcast Academy. Happening next week. Go ahead and click and be a part of it. Thank you, guys. Nikki Thomas.